Barbados, get up.
Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Perhaps let me be the first to wish all of you a wonderful Wednesday morning. Wednesday, the 9th of April, 2025. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Pearson Bowen. Good having you company, and thank you for waking up to keep us company as well. To those of you watching on our streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, cbc.bb, bonjour, ça va? How do you do? I hope you have a lovely today indeed. And as you do so, remember, share among yourselves, but share with us as well. Share the show. Tell someone else that we're on air and online, and so certainly you can bring them along to engage with us as well. Don't keep the secret to yourself. Just share it with someone else. Bring joy bright and early in the morning as the sun rises. So to all of you, thank you so much for waking up to keep us company. For those of you who have an idea, or if you know of someone or something which you need to share, and so you think we can do so for you, drop us an email. Simple, Simon. Just the email address is morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Already a number of you are doing so, and we are grateful for your association with us. So thank you for being good partners in Morning Barbados. Continue to send us the information. Give us a scoop, and we will hunt them down, and we'll tell the story for you as well. So thank you so much for sharing your ideas with us at Morning Barbados. To you, Patricia Ben, overseas, good morning. Have yourself a lovely today. She says good morning to our production crew. Thank you for engaging with us on social media. Audrey Gittins, good morning to you as well. Have a lovely today. A wonderful, wonderful Wednesday to you as well. Thank you for waking up early and commenting with us at Morning Barbados. Now today is also a rest day for the young ladies who are part of the Jean Pierre Caribbean Netball Youth Netball Tournament. They're taking a day today to engage in Speak Up Sister. It's a summit that they're having, for a leadership summit, really and truly. And so the games will continue tomorrow, and Barbados game against St. Lucia will be at 8 o'clock. We want to encourage as many of you as possible to assemble in the gymnasium bright and early, because competition starts much earlier in the day, but we want you to be there to give support to the young ladies in this netball tournament. And you can pay at the door, just $5, or you can get your ticket online or from any of the box offices available as well. So we encourage you to get your season ticket, because there are a number of games still to go, and Barbados thus far has been doing very, very well in this youth netball tournament. So please lend your support. Also, coming up today, there is the Regathering Pop-Up Lime. That's going to be at Ours Meat and Variety at Parks Road in St. Joseph. It starts at 4 in the afternoon. So for those of you who are Josephines, or for those of you who are not Josephines, this lime is for you. It's going to be at Ours Meat and Variety at Parks Road beginning at 4, all part of the gathering activities in St. Joseph. Coming up this weekend, on the 12th, as a matter of fact, as we did share with you, is the memorial of the commemoration of the death of Jesus. And so the JWs, the Jehovah's Witnesses, are encouraging you to go online, find a congregation near you. You can come in, or you can be a part of it online as well. It's just 1 hour of your day. And so they want to encourage all of you to be a part of the memorial. You will learn so much. You learn so much. jw.org is the website to which you go. Find the congregation, assemble, and engage in the memorial. And of course, there are other activities to be held, and we want to encourage you to follow it on jw.org. Then on Monday, as the season of emancipation kicks off, there is going to be the live reenactment of the 1816 Bussa Rebellion at Golden Groves Plantation in St. Philip, starting at 6:30. We want to encourage you to be a part of that reenactment. Let's remember our history so we can engage in our present and chart our way forward as well. Now, Wednesday it is indeed, and coming up today, we want to hear from the Autism Association of Barbados. We have 2 parents, as a matter of fact, of children of autism, and they'll join us to share their story, and we want to learn from that experience as well. I'm already wearing my what do you call it, a pin in support of this, because I want to encourage you always to stand in support of the autism. And that's what we want to encourage you going forward as well, as April is that month in which we do so. So as you see the tables in the malls, stop, buy one, as I have, purchase a t-shirt, show your support, make a donation, because all of your donations goes towards the sharing of assistance to those parents who are handling children of different, who are just slightly different, not majorly different, but they're on the spectrum of autism. And you're showing your support in a very tangible and significant way. Also today, Island Impact Outreach are going to share with us what they're doing ahead of Easter. We can't wait to hear from them about that. When we talk HR with HERMAB, we'll meet the new president of HERMAB and the past president as well. What are the plans for 2025, 2026? We'll get to know more when they come by. First Citizens Uplift. You may have seen this on social media. You may have seen it on radio, heard it on radio, or seen it on TV as well. We'll get more from Nicholas Branker when he joins us to talk more about that production as well. And the Student Revolving Loan Fund continues to lend support to education in Barbados, and they're encouraging you to learn more about cybersecurity. There's some courses in that. We'll get more details this morning. And Dr. Joy Sue will help us manage our elderly as it relates to dementia, depression, and a whole host of emotional challenges which they're facing. So we are going to delve into that as well. But let's get started by meeting these two young ladies who I had an opportunity to sit and talk to just a little while ago. They are parents of autistic children. And next to me is Bridget Baker. Next to her is Charmaine Walker. Ladies, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so happy you're bold enough, I'll say, to come forward and tell your story. Let's start with you, Bridget. Talk to me a little bit about how you found out. What's your child? It's a boy or girl?
A boy.
A boy. How old is he now?
He's 13.
He's in his teens?
Yes, he
and
is.
how has it been for you so far?
It's been an interesting journey. When I found out that he was autistic, he was actually 5 years old. But before that, he had reached all of his milestones. He has two other siblings who are older than him. He is 5 years after the second child, but the first two are like 18 months apart. So he's literally the baby of the family. And he reached all of his milestones before those two, so there wasn't any indication early up that something was wrong. It's only when he didn't speak that we realized, okay, something's not right here, you know.
So these milestones, just for a minute, if you don't mind me interrupting, what milestones did he reach? Because if you didn't see the non-speech, did not flag you early?
Well, because he walked. In fact, when he was born, he actually turned his head, which is something phenomenal.
That's right.
You know, so, I mean, something like that happens.
Go ahead.
And something like that happens, and you don't think that anything is going to happen down the road because...
Is it, whoa, I have a genius in the family here.
Exactly.
This child is growing up fast.
Exactly. His siblings did not do that. They did that a lot later. He walked early, he crawled early, he stumbled early. So those are the basic milestones a child reach, you know.
And you were so excited.
Yes, I was.
And then you realized, hold on, he's not even saying mama, nothing.
Nothing. He wouldn't even respond to his name. So usually that's one of the very first symptoms.
Did you have him tested for hearing at that point?
It's only when persons kept asking me, can this child hear? You know, his godmother took him to the beach one time because she used to babysit for us. And he reacted very strangely to the sound of the water because he never heard the waves before. That's like the first time he went to the beach. And she was like, you sure this child can hear? Because I don't know, he reacted really funny to the water. And I thought, you know what, let me go and get him checked. One of the things that happens with parents is that a lot of the times we're in denial.
Yes.
We notice things, but we tell ourselves, nah, that's not happening.
And that was you?
That was me in the initial stages.
So you had to confront that reality?
Yes.
That was you. But how difficult or easy was that for you to say, I'm in denial?
Because, funny enough, after the first two kids, I just happened to come across some information about autism. So I already had some information about autism. It's just I never thought it would happen to me. You know, so after coming to terms with, okay, he's not seem to be hearing well, something is going on, and persons kept asking me that, I said, you know what, it's best to let me get him checked.
Yeah, but again, to my mind, you would have gone to check his ears to see if can this child hear?
Actually, it started with his, because I saw, he was crying once and I saw like his glands were swollen in his throat.
Okay.
So I took him to a ENT specialist, right? And that is where it actually started. So when I discussed with her the fact that he seemed not to be able to hear, then we got his hearing checked. So she arranged for that to happen. He failed his test. Then we had I think it's called an ABA test, which they put probes on the head to see how you're responding to different sounds. And he failed that one as well. So then he was referred to the Children Development Center at the time. That's why it was called, which is the Cecil Graham, right? And it was there that he was actually diagnosed with autism. He went to the nursery there as well. So,
but when you got that diagnosis, did it hit you like a ton of bricks, or you were, okay, now I know?
Yes, that's how it was. It's like, okay, now I know. Now I understand why he's not speaking. He can do everything else, but the speech is not. For my husband, however, it took a lot longer.
I can imagine. He kept asking, what did I do wrong? How could this happen to me? The other two are fine, and then I helped to produce this. I'll come back to your story in just a moment. And so, Charmaine, let's talk about yours now. How old is he? What is a boy or girl?
A boy.
A boy. How old is he?
He's 10.
He's 10.
Yes.
And when did it start for you to realize, hold on, he's not developing the way that other children have been developing?
Well, okay. It started when he was about 3. I was 40 when I got him. So I was like, okay, what problems that I caused at this age, you know? But just like Bridget, I thought he couldn't hear, right? And I was lucky and fortunate to be in a field where I had some specialists that I got a specialist to check him out and stuff. And while he was doing it, my phone rang. And when I turned it on, it came onto a cartoon. It was on a cartoon and stuff. And then I saw him turn his head, and the doctor would say, he's not deaf. He can hear.
Right.
He can hear. Something else is wrong. So then I took him to the Children Development Center at the time and stuff, and they checked him out and stuff, and they were saying he has autism. He's on the scale of autism. And they also checked for other stuff. So he was also diagnosed with ADHD and sensory processing disorder. So he has quite a few things. And it was mind-blowing to me because I've known about autism for a while, but I've never really deep searched it and know, well, okay, this is what it caused, you know. I was like, oh gosh, what did I do wrong, you know? I'm now happy with my first and only kid, you know. And it wasn't, I don't think it was too much of a denial for me because I knew what it was like before. I didn't know what living was like, you know, but I think too at the time I was married, and it was a denial from my husband because he has more kids and nothing was wrong.
With them.
His only
so
boy.
It must be you.
Yeah, that was a blame for me.
Yes.
His only boy too, only boy. But I've come to live with it. The hardest part for me is not hearing. He's nonverbal also. I've never heard him say mommy. You know, and this has been 10 years, you know, that's hurtful, you know, we go in here, mommy, mommy, mommy. You know, people just think, oh God, don't stop calling my name, but I want to hear that.
Yes.
I want that to be I want to say, no, stop calling my name, you know.
Yes.
So it was a journey, having to learn step by step. Being nonverbal too is even harder because you have to learn little tricks and trade. How he communicates. You know, he has to tell me how he's hungry when he's hungry. He can't tell me when he's in pain. I find myself searching his body when he come home from school or going anywhere because he has a high tolerance of pain. So you don't know if he has a nail jerk, if he has a pin jerk. You don't know these things. Wow. So, and 10 years after, I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
It's a real journey.
Yes.
And so, Bridget, Charmaine had the husband denial. You had the husband denial as well.
Yes.
And so, how did you break through that denial by him? You had to sit him down and say, listen, we have to deal with this. You know how you women get.
Yes, gradually sharing information and reiterating, you know, the child is on the spectrum. And I think after a while, having the information and learning what the symptoms are, then he came to terms with it. I mean, he's a great support now, but in those early days, it was really hard to accept because, I mean, we like to think that, you know, our children are going to go to school, they're going to make friends, they're going to grow up and have kids and a family. I mean, autism is a spectrum, so there are different levels.
Yes.
My son is a level 2, so he needs some support. You know, persons down on the lower end of the spectrum might be able to do those things, but my son needs lots of support. So coming to terms with the fact that that is not going to happen for this child is difficult.
And it changes your life, because
Yes, it
now
does.
you had plans of doing A, B, or C, and now you're forced to make a U-turn almost and say, I have to come back because my plans that will take me forward A, B, and C, I now have to realize I can't do it in the order in which I want to do it. And so I know we're going to take a break, and we have to take a break, but I just want to hear, how did you get to that point of saying, all right, I have to find solutions for this young man. I have to do things for him because he's mine. At what point did that happen?
When I realized that he has autism for life and he will always have autism. So I have to make sure that he can at least do some things for himself, because when I'm no longer here, when his dad is no longer here, somebody else has to take care of him, and he may be a burden to somebody else. So is that then you realize, you know, no, I have to do something, you know, I have to get the help.
And I know for you, Charmaine, it's like, but I'm not as a young girl anymore, and what will happen to this boy?
That's my biggest fear, is that I don't know how long I'm gonna be here for. And my son is more like only level 3, where he's very high maintenance and he needs help. You know, he tries to be independent, but he's not going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, okay, autism gone. I'm saying, you know, I was looking forward to having a kid. I'm looking forward to raising a kid. But I was looking forward, when you get 18, get out my house now. You know, I was looking forward for that feeling, you know, and living my goal. But this is something that, this is set for life, for my life, at least for my life. And my biggest fear is that I don't really have the support system.
Just coming to that, yes.
You know, I don't have the support system that I don't have, you know. So it's just me as a single parent. So it cries every day knowing what's going to happen to him after I'm gone.
Boy, I feel that. I feel that. Good point to take a break. We'll come back and share more about how the Autism Association of Barbados helps parents like these two ladies. Back.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So today you're hearing the stories of two parents of autistic children. One is in his teens, the other is just almost into his teens, he's 10 years old. And these two ladies are sharing the challenges they've faced in acceptance, first of all, and then finding solutions. But how else can we help children of autism indeed? And so Bridget Baker and Charmaine Walker are here with me. These two mothers are sharing. And so Bridget, you came to that point where you had to make a decision. Okay, I have now to do things, because what will happen to my child? I want my child to be as independent as possible. What did you find in Barbados to be able to allow you to do so?
Well, I must give credit to the Children's Development Center, because it was through them that I was enrolled in a program with a speech pathologist, and it helped me to understand how to communicate with my son. He is nonverbal, so therefore he cannot speak, but he communicates in other ways. We know that speech is probably the smallest percentage of communication. So that course was like about a year. It included learning how to connect with your child, because they have a very narrow focus, and trying to communicate with them sometimes is very difficult. If they're doing something, you can't just go and interrupt them. You know, it's like a no.
Yes.
So learning how to interject into what they're doing to get them to respond to you, getting them to make eye contact, because some of them don't like looking at you. You know, teaching him stuff by letting him follow, but like mimicking, get him to mimic what I am doing. Potty training was also difficult. It's always one of the more difficult things, because he was enrolled at the nursery at the time. The occupational therapists, they really help with his potty training, because if you're going to go into a public school, you have to be potty trained. You can't go and not be potty
They won't
trained.
accept you, yes.
You know, then getting him to signal was very, very difficult. He doesn't particularly ask for help. So I had to learn his cues when he's crying. What could it possibly be? Is it his ear? Because he used to get a lot of ear infections. Is it his ears? Is it his throat? Remember I talked about the tonsillitis. You know, is he congested? Is he hungry? And eventually I got to learn his cues. And pretty much that is why as you go through a process of elimination, can it be A, B, C, D, or E, until he learned to, for example, if he's hungry, he would probably go get his plate. He has a specific plate or bowl, so he would take it up, he will bring it to you. Now he goes in the fridge.
Yes. He's going to handle it himself.
Yes. Yeah, if he wants to go to the bathroom, sometimes he wouldn't always signal, so he will probably be at school and for the whole day probably not go. Or he would go when it is break time and everybody else is going. He also has fears of close spaces. So getting him to go to school in the initial stages, we had to actually attempt to go 3 times. The very first time was just to get him familiar with the surroundings. The second time was to get him to go through the door. The third time was to get him to actually go inside. And where he goes to school, there's a narrow passage that sometimes if the light isn't bright, it will be dark. And he would not want to go through there. I mean, it's a terror. During COVID, because we had a long break, going back to school was a major challenge for him. And by that time, there was a casuarina tree, and it had a lot of shacks. So, I mean, the noise, you know, he was accustomed to that noise. So it's like, is this the same place? It looks the same, but the sounds are different, you know. So it was a real fight. I got scratched up, bitten up. Sometimes he didn't want to get out of the car. Sometimes I had to decide I have to go back home because he's not cooperating. The teachers would try to coax him out, and he's not having it, you know.
I don't know how you could live with that. Seriously, I'm not being in a bad way. But you understand what I'm saying? Because it's to be scratched up, bitten by my child.
Yes.
Who I'm trying to do something with. And you can't even lash the child because the child doesn't know. The child doesn't quite understand.
Yes.
And you know what I'm talking about, Sharby.
Yeah, I got burst lips.
My word.
I got head butts. I got everything from my child. And you're so scared because you're saying, oh God, you're going to be deaf for me, man. You're going to think I fell down and burst up my face and everything because I was trying to save him from falling, because he's pulling from me to get something, which I don't want to go because he's very strong. My son was born at 2.5 pounds, but he grew to a massive boy. If you see him now, you will not think he's 10.
Wow.
Right. So those are fears that our mothers go through. As mothers, we go through even as a normal child. But in this stage with us, we have to deal with the autism. We are forever, every day, trying to find easy ways to do it. My son is very independent now. He goes into the fridge. he sometimes the only thing he doesn't do is light the stove. Right. He takes the things out of the fridge, and like if he has hot dog thing, he put it in the frying pan. Yeah, mommy, come and do this. You know, this is what I want and stuff and thing. Right. So we had to learn that piece by piece what you want, what you think, you know, and stuff. Going to the bathroom, I have a difficulty with him with the bathroom, so he's still in things. So he can't attend any public school at all. He has to be and I'm thinking that he's having the surrounding, even with a teacher change stuff, you know. He will wake up one morning and his son hit him the wrong place. He's for the whole day. I had a time that we had a parent that we took him to the pool and everything, and he would not go in the water because he forgot his favorite pants. You know, so these are things
They
we
hang
have
on
to
these
deal
things,
with.
I know.
Fixations.
You know?
It means a lot to them. But what kinds of support do you get locally, though, or what opportunities are provided locally to help your child develop and get better at managing the autism?
Well, there's occupational therapy, which help with things like potty training and different tasks. There are also speech pathologists. There are not many behavioral therapists in the island, and that would help with behaviors like the outbursts and so the speech pathologists also help with social communication and stuff like that, how to make friends, that type of stuff. But the behavioral therapists would more like when they act out. For example, my son, if you try to interrupt him from doing something, or he wants a particular thing and he can't get it, he might throw a tantrum. So it's helping him to understand, you know, you can't behave like this, you know, how to manage the triggers that would make him do that. So the behavioral therapist would try to do that. The Children's Development Center, I don't think they have a behavioral therapist, but they do have occupational therapists, and they have a speech therapist there. The services are usually free. But you have to be referred there in order to access those services. However, unfortunately, sometimes you have to wait a very long time because the list is extremely long.
Charmaine, what would you hope was possible for your child that we could provide to help your child be his best self?
Wow. I'm guessing more understanding. I just want people to be much more aware of it, because I'm scared. My child is a homely child. We stay home a lot because of his behavior and stuff, right? So when I go out with him, it's like the first thing you hear, people pull out the phones, start a video as soon as he starts. Yeah, we have it. We have it there.
That level of
and
insensitivity.
I remember an instance with him. He was rolling on the ground because he couldn't get there, and he's big compared to me, and he had me on the ground. I actually had to get down to his level in the road, you know, stopping traffic. And the first thing you see people, they're taking out the video. Oh, she can't control the child. The child is bad behaving. I just want people to really take a step back. I think education and not knowing is the downfall of us here in Barbados. And we don't have the behavior. Sometimes if you watch on YouTube and stuff, the behavior that you see some of these children overseas do, you know, you don't get the point, that thing, but you just got to understand. I just want people to understand it more and stop judging. You know, listen, learn about autism, you know, or ask a question. You know, sometimes you'll have a stranger, hey, you got that one-off person that will come and say, well, okay, what's wrong? I can understand, I can see these signs because they're learning and they're more educated about it. And that's the only thing that I worry about, apart from, yes, the prices and stuff, because let's be real, things are very hard.
Yep.
And prices and things, as Bridget said, the CDC helps a lot and everything, but there is a long waiting list. And for my case, I was on the waiting list for at least 6 years before I got on. 6 years before I got on to get this speech therapist. And by that time, it was really no use. It's no use right now because my son is set. You know, they have a short attention span, number one. I took him to a couple of few, and even the speech therapist said that she really can't handle him. You know, and I understand it, right? Because I'm a parent and sometimes I can't handle him. But I think that that's something that we need to work on to the early interventions and stuff. And that's the downfall about most people with me and everything. My son don't really do any therapy or anything. So because he's set in his ways. If he wants to do this, he's going to do that. If he wants to do that, he's going to do that. And if he doesn't get that, he breaks down. And then you have to deal. So somebody once told me, you got to pick your battles when you come to these kids. Sometimes, if he cries for something, don't give him. But sometimes you got to pick your battles where you are. Because if I don't give him, I'm going to see the consequences of it and stuff. So that's the only thing I want to see. Society coming together and learning about this disability and learning, even to go into a doctor's office. When I try to, I can't go in a clinic with my son. It's a waste of time. So I have to look for the money to take him to a doctor, because having that wait in the clinic, and sometimes you explain to people, okay, my son is this way, he can't deal with crowds. I know I'm not asking you to push me ahead of somebody, but see what you can do for me. And some people are, I think, and then some people just don't care. So you know what I do sometimes? I just let him do what he has to do
Yes,
until
yes.
you realize, oh, we need to get this lady out of here and her son and stuff. So I just need people to be much more understanding, especially in workplaces and things, because I had my son at the time he was big, but in the supermarket. I have no one to keep him, so I have to take him to the supermarket. My son would like to go in the basket and sit down. I actually had him in the basket, a big basket, and sit down. I would take out the things and put it in there. He would just sit down there and be comfortable, and I can shop. And security guard, oh, you can't have him in there. He's too big. He's too big and stuff. So stuff like that, I just need people to, you know, you need to compromise a little bit and think in order for society. And when my son see that and see me getting upset and see things, they will react towards that too.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of insensitivity in our society still because we act in ignorance. And I'm hoping that in this month of April that people seek the knowledge to empower them to be a lot more educated in how they do it. I know what you ladies are going through, not only with the autistic nephew, but also with a nephew who is Down syndrome. I get really annoyed. Don't look at him. He's not a gimmick. So, but I do not deprive him of opportunities to be a part of regular society. Follow me. You beat up on me, but you don't dare touch him. And that's my passion. So I understand how you feel. But I know that the Autism Association of Barbados also lends parent support. And for parents watching this morning, you know, if you need that support, just contact the Autism Association of Barbados. They're all on social. And so reach out to other parents like these ladies who can help not just share their stories, but help you with solutions as well. Because I know there's a need for more in our society to help our children of autism. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story. I hope that people, as they listened this morning, got a greater understanding of what you face day by day and what children of autism also face, because they're only trying to communicate. They're trying also to be their best self. And so when they have that, they meet that opportunity where they cannot be understood, then they react, as any of us would when someone doesn't seem to understand us. And so it's for us to be sensitive to that and know the difference. I'd like to tell the story. I tried to interject with a child. I didn't know he was autistic. There's this boy running after this little girl, and this girl was scared, and I put myself between them. Who told me do that? I got waxed. You know, he hit me so hard. And that's when I found out then that he was autistic, not to touch him, because I wanted to separate them. So these things happen. These things happen. But there are solutions, and there's a place where parents of autistic children can go to find support. It's the Autism Association of Barbados. Folks, we need to be a whole lot more sensitive. I hope you remember that today. If nothing else, be a whole lot more sensitive to the parents of autistic children and to children with autism as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have some things coming up. This is...
Yeah, I know, but we'll talk about another occasion. There's another occasion we have planned to further promote that, so we will do so, but thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 26 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock as we turn our attention now to care for the elderly and their emotional disposition as they grow older. And we couldn't think of anyone better than consultant psychiatrist with the psychiatric hospital or psychiatrist, Dr. Joy Sue. Dr. Sue, good morning to you. I'm not there. Can you sound your voice again for me?
Good morning.
There you
I'm
are.
happy to be
Thank
here
you
again.
so much. Good to see you indeed. And so as we grow older, there's some things that happen to us. There's dementia that comes into play, there's depression, there's loneliness. All of those emotional things happen. And so I wanted to focus a little bit on all of those things today if we possibly can. And so I want to start first with aging and how, as a society, we view people who've aged and how we treat to them generally.
Well, I don't want to sound like doom and gloom, but there is something called ageism. And I find that in some spheres, not all, because I think generally we treat our elderly well, but in some spheres, the elderly get neglected. So some people look at the elderly and think, even if they're coming to get medical attention, why bother to spend the time on them? They think that, they're going to die. They've lived their whole life already, so they're not the priority. So that kind of thinking is problematic. And it is part of what contributes to the mental health problems that elderly persons present with, especially if they feel like they're abandoned by family members or loved ones, because they already have a sense of isolation. Because as you get older, as you would know, nowadays it's happening when you're younger, but as you get older, your friends, your family members, they start to die. So persons that you were accustomed to spending time with are no longer there. So you get to that feeling where you're feeling isolated. We don't need to increase the isolation as a society by then making persons feel as if they no longer have purpose.
So all of us need to be mindful of that. One, that the elderly is realizing what's happening around them. They see their friends leaving through death, and so they begin to mark their time through their contemporaries are no longer around, so they figure, oh, okay, possibly I'm next. And they begin to feel depressed about that because the mortality faces them. And so when we begin to isolate them, that is almost like sealing the doom for them as well. And then there's a level of depression that follows from. That depression, to my mind, can also lead to dementia. Is it possible? Is that medically possible?
Yes, there's a lot of overlap between dementia, or rather I would like to specify dementia of the Alzheimer's type, really. There's a lot of overlap between that and depression. So some persons, when they come to me, it can be very difficult to tell what's going on, because depression in the elderly can also present as something called pseudo-dementia. So it's not a true dementia. It is a person who's depressed, who has problems with their memory and thinking as a result of that depression. This is something that's particular to the elderly. But sometimes it can be a true dementia, which is presenting at first with either depression as the first set of symptoms, or as the person starts to realize that their cognitive functions, that they're thinking, their memory, their reasoning is starting to decline, they're depressed. Or as I said, it can be that the person has both because of that. So it can be a little difficult at first. So those two things can occur together. All right, depression can be the early sign.
Simple memory loss is not necessarily a precursor to dementia. I may have forgotten where I placed my pen right now. That is not necessarily thinking that, or I may have forgotten your name because, we haven't interacted in a little while. That does not necessarily mean that I have early symptoms of dementia, does it? Answer me correctly,
hope
please.
not, because from a child I was very forgetful. So
thank you.
I hope not. But there are differences between normal aging and normal memory problems and a person who, say, has Alzheimer's disease. So, for instance, if you forget where you misplace your pen, usually you're able to retrace your steps. That's what I usually do to find things when I've misplaced them. So I will think about it for a while and say, I went here to pick up something, I went there, and I go all the places that I know that I went to check and see if the pen is there. And that's how we find it. The person with Alzheimer's disease, they can't retrace their steps. They can't do that. So they lose the ability to do that, and that's one of the differences.
But picking that up early, that's what I'm talking about. If I find that all of a sudden I'm forgetting a name, I'm forgetting a location of something, is that a cause for concern? Because you're caring for your elderly and you're noticing these changes. Is that something that will cause me pause to get it fixed or get it diagnosed?
Well, if you're forgetting names of persons that are close or important to you, that might be cause for concern.
Okay.
If you're misplacing like one thing once in a blue moon, as we would say, I wouldn't say that that's cause for concern. But if this is something that's happening on a regular basis, and especially if it's important things, like you can't find your ID card, or if the things that you're misplacing, when you find them, they're in very weird locations, like say you put money in your refrigerator. For instance, I would start to worry, because that would be very unusual. And sometimes that's what happens. Persons with Alzheimer's disease or other types of dementia, because Alzheimer's disease is the most common type of dementia, not the only type, they will misplace things. But when you find the things are in weird locations that they've hidden them. They kind of put them down there thinking for safekeeping, but they're places where those things should never be put.
And you're right, I've seen it. And so there's a thing called the sundown effect. I've heard it called that. What's that?
So sundowning is something that occurs in the evening time when the sun is going, just like it says, when the sun is going down, persons who have Alzheimer's disease, they get more confused or even more agitated. And there's some theories behind that. So usually in the evening time, your household becomes, a little bit more full. So persons may be coming home from work, children coming home from school. So there's more activity. So persons who are in the house who have Alzheimer's disease might be overstimulated at that time. It's also thought that maybe the sun itself, the light itself, or rather the lack of light, is a trigger for that to occur as well, because they already have a visual impairment that occurs with Alzheimer's disease, and the lack of this light may worsen that. So what may happen is they might not be seeing things or looking at regular objects, but they're thinking that that object is something else.
Yes.
So all that can occur in sundowning.
So what do you do when that happens in your loved one who is shown, that they're managing the sunset as badly as that?
I say sometimes it can be due to overstimulation. So I would try to keep things as calm as possible in the household. I would try to develop a routine for them around that time that keeps them calm and relaxed, whether that is playing calming music. I would keep light, make sure they have enough light as well. So there are different things, and I think the management for that has been mainly behavioral rather than just relying. I think we rely a little bit too much sometimes on the medications, but it takes patience to manage clients who have Alzheimer's disease, and I think sometimes that's where the problem comes in. And that a lot of persons don't recognize that this is a part of the behaviors are part of the illness, and they don't have the patience to deal with it, or they don't accept it. It's very difficult to accept that you have a loved one who's basically slipping away from you in front of your eyes. So a lot of persons find that hard to accept, and because of that, they're fighting against it, and then they can't cope with the illness.
So help us cope with the illness. What levels of sensitivity must we have generally to be able to manage this process of change in our loved ones?
Well, first we have to understand that it is an illness, that the persons are not just being wicked, because a lot of people, when the first kind of changes occur, because the first changes can be behavioral. And so you might have a person who's accustomed doing certain things and they stop doing them. A person who never cursed in their life, and all of a sudden they're being verbally abusive, or they're being a little bit aggressive with you. So persons in the beginning might think that this person is being wicked to them, person's being evil to them in some way, and they take it to heart. But you have to recognize that this is a part of the illness, so that you're not blaming the person or thinking the person is doing this to you on purpose. It's not about you, it's about the illness. And I think that is the first step to learning to cope with it. Because then when you realize it's not about you, the person's not doing this to you personally, then you can move forward and even take things in stride, maybe laugh at things sometimes when they happen, and not let it stress you out so much. But important part of coping too is self-care. What I find a lot is that we have families who may have 3-4 children in the family, but one person is stuck with the burden of taking care of that family member who has Alzheimer's disease, and the others aren't pitching in, or they think that is enough to just give financial assistance and their hands off. But that is not really good enough, because that person needs breaks too to take care of themselves. They can't do that 24/7 or they will break down. You have 2 sick persons. So in my practice, I'm not only looking after the person who has the Alzheimer's disease, but I pay very careful attention to the caregiver's health as well, their mental health and their physical health, because they have to take care of themselves to be able to take care of that person as well. And they have to recognize that taking care of themselves is just as important.
You got that right. It's very difficult at times with trying to have a common conversation with someone who has Alzheimer's, because they slip in and out from time to time, and so you have to be very, very patient with that slipping in and slipping out, and to know really what is the center of it all, so that you can have a meaningful conversation. Would it be wise in a situation like that to either one, go with the flow with the person who has Alzheimer's, or to try to get them back to reality?
I always try to go with the flow.
Okay.
And you know what you are saying there is one of the reasons why people think they're wicked. because sometimes they can have a perfectly good conversation with you, and then other times they cannot. So people are like, but this person had a good conversation with me, nothing wrong with them. So that's what people say. But no, that is how the illness works. Sometimes they have what we call lucid moments where they can have a good conversation with you, and other times they can't. So I like to go with the flow. If they want to talk about something, I go with that flow and I talk about something. I make jokes, I get them to laugh, I get them to open up. That's what you have to do. And if the person is saying you want it, because a lot of times too where the conflict comes in, you want the person to do something, but the person doesn't want to do something. So they're being resistant to you. I like tell persons, if you're getting flustered, take a breather, walk away, do something else for 5 minutes, then come back and try again. The person might have forgotten the earlier confrontation that you two have had, and you might be able to get their cooperation at that point. So the goal is you have to keep yourself calm, because they're also going to react to you not being calm. They pick up on that. So instinct is still there.
So stay calm, go with the flow, and eventually they'll find their way back, and you catch up again and you move on. But go with the flow. That's the overarching message. But we also deal, when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia, we hear of the walking away, or they're seeing things at night and they're creating this people call it mischief, because suddenly there's a stranger in the house. All of those things happen. And that's difficult to handle.
Right. So the wandering, as we call it, is something that is a very difficult one to handle. And I will tell clients up front, I don't have any medication that can manage that. Short of, just keeping the person sedated, which I don't agree with. There's nothing to manage that. You have to manage that behaviorally. So you have to make sure that your home is secure so that the person can't get out and wander. You have to spend time. If the person's a person that was accustomed to going outside a lot, you have to spend time, if they're willing, taking them for walks, taking them out, driving them. So sometimes in the evening when we have that sundowning coming, persons say they want to go home. That's a common one. They want to go home. They don't remember the home that they're in now. They remember their childhood home. So I had one relative that would have to take their relative to their childhood home and show them, see, the house is not there anymore, every evening.
Wow.
So you have to be flexible to do things like that and not try to get too flustered too easily or get angry or upset too easily, because that's something that is also common. For others, it's a matter of making sure that the person can't get out of the house too easily without them knowing. You don't want to be sleeping at night and thinking that your relative is out on the road.
That's right.
So you have to put measures in place, whether it is making the locks more complicated. I had a client that the wife changed the locks and he managed somehow to figure it out and he got out again. So she had to make it more complicated. And then eventually, sometimes, unfortunately, persons have to be placed in care, in care facilities. And that for me is a last resort, but sometimes becomes necessary, especially when it comes to the wandering. So when it becomes a safety concern, the person needs 24-hour supervision, then that's when care homes come into place.
There's so much to this discussion which we don't have the time for, but I'm hoping that as people listened, they got the idea. They at least got a sense of what's happening. You, one, need to be able to care for yourself so that you can care for your loved one who is affected by Alzheimer's or loneliness or depression. Because in trying to struggle to do it and you are not taking care of yourself, you too will get sick. But also to know that medication is not always a solution. Sometimes there's a little bit more compassion that you require to be able to exercise with your loved one so that they are also living through this healthily with you as well. Their appetite will change, their diets will change, all of those things change. And you have to be able to be flexible enough to change with it as well. But consult your psychiatrist, consult your doctor, your medical doctor, and you will find all those solutions. Dr. Joy Sue, again, thank you so much for sharing with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. Morning Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're talking HR with Hermab this morning, and so you know this is one of my favorite subjects indeed, and so I'm happy to be joined by the new president of Hermab, Tisha Peters, and she's brought along the past president, Nicholas. Good morning to you indeed, Robert.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good. So again, welcome to the hot seat, so to speak, but you have Nicholas still to lean on, you know, and that's the beauty of how the organization works. There's a moment of transition and you're working alongside as well, one and one together. And so how so far so good?
So far so good. We have a great team, new committee chairs, and so we have a nice transition of power, and Nicholas, of course, as IPP or immediate past president, has been extremely helpful in the transition. He's been grooming me for this role for a little while, and so happy to really be here and working alongside with him.
But you come with your own plans, your own focus. How would you define what your next year will look like?
My next year is going to look a little bit similar to the last year, because I believe we have to build on what Nicholas started. So Nicholas started with 3 strategic pillars of advocacy, media engagement, media visibility, and membership engagement. I wanted to add a 4th of sustainability, and it is financial prudence. And so building on that, just keeping us in the public eye and letting our HR professionals know that Hermab is there to advocate for them, to give them support, and to be that resource for them when they need to have information.
Nicholas, you set the road clearly for Tisha. She's following it beautifully as well. And I know is right. How would you benchmark where your success is?
I think it was when we were talking about it last time I was here, it was the visibility of the association. But even to Tisha's point, the new executive met on Monday night, and there's still work to be done, because what came up, for instance, someone was saying that they were talking to younger practitioners and they looked at them with a blank face about what is Hermab. And I think that set the tone for us that yes, we've done well, but there's still more work to be done, because even I think about myself, the way that I heard about Hermab about 10 years ago when I was a young practitioner is the same way that these young people reacted. So I think it is just a chance for us to bring along the more mature practitioners and get the younger practitioners in the association and bridge the divide, get them working together so that we can bridge the younger practitioners and the more practitioners and see how it is that we can continue to push the profession further and forward, and obviously Hermab by extension.
So Tisha, how do you see yourself doing that, or leading your organization to the point where you're actually able to achieve that?
So I think it's just looking at the resources that we have, and also just finding ways to engage the public a little bit more. We have our social media platform. We have a new website that we launched at the conference last year. On that website, you can do a lot of things. There's a chat feature. You can post things. You have a job board. We have an e-learning platform. And so really engaging our members and letting them know that, you know, we are still here. We are committed to the profession and for ensuring that our HR professionals have a resource that they can lean on. You know, we have our new committee chairs. We have you know, labor management, training and development, public relations, and membership and activities. And tied with that, with the core part of HR, I think that's how we can definitely let people know. Looking at other channels, of course, you know, radio, social media, TV. Thank you for this partnership.
You're welcome.
Just to reach everybody on that HR professionals throughout Barbados and the Caribbean.
Your membership is made up simply of people who practice HR, or associate membership like mine? I would love to join, honestly.
We have both. So we have professional members, we have affiliate members, and we have student membership. So students at the University of the West Indies, or student and BIMAP who are studying, they can join as student members. Our professional members, of course, are persons who are practicing HR, and affiliate members are people who maybe have their degree, but not necessarily in HR, but they still want to be part of the association. So, you know, if you have your HR degree, we can, if you don't have your HR degree, worked in the HR related role. You know, if you don't have your HR degree, Pearson, we also offer certification courses, so you can do those. We have a partnership with the Academy to Innovate HR, We just started with CIPD, the Chartered Institute of Professional Development in the UK. So we're offering those courses as well as the Canadian HR Academy. And so we are looking at those, so persons can come and do those courses through HERMAB, and they get a nice little discount for AIHR. So you can come and join and do something.
After all these years, you're now telling me this?
Well,
that I could have been certified in some way by now?
Yes, you could have been. But it's not too late, right? It's never too late to start.
I sit back because, I'm cross with you, but I'm happy nonetheless. It is possible. It's as simple as going to the website.
Yes.
And tracking my way through.
Yes, and if you want additional information, you can feel free to reach out to either myself or Nicholas through our secretariat, admin at hermab.org.bb or president at hermab.org.bb, and we'll be able to give you additional information on our services.
I think this is fantastic because there are people who find themselves in supervisory positions who need to strengthen their HR capacity.
Yes.
And then there are people who just like engaging with people and helping people to achieve their best selves and who just want to be able to certify it in some way to be able to do so. And this allows them the opportunity to do so. So if you have the passion for people and the HR, this is an opportunity right there, right away.
Yes.
And so, Nicholas, this is, are you finding more men stepping up? Because oftentimes a lot more HR's offices are looking very female.
Incidentally, I did my master's on incidentally, the profession by nature is a female dominated profession. There's no talking around it, not just in Barbados, the world by and large. There are more males studying the profession because, like I said, by nature of it, people saw the profession as very female-oriented because it's a love and care and nurturing profession, and the thought process is that men cannot necessarily perform in the role as well as
the
women.
Nurturing thing.
Yes, but I think male practitioners that I've come across, and I don't want to single out any because I may leave out some, but the males that I've come across in the profession have shown that yes, men can function in the role in terms of having that love and care, but while still being strategic at the same time. So from what I've seen in university, from the University of the West Indies, I think we're pushing out more males. It's just to get them actually within the profession once they transition out of university. Yeah.
There's a lot happening in business today, though, that needs HR's full support, and times are changing. And because times are changing, how is HERMAB keeping up with the changing times so that you remain relevant?
Well, we look at trends. So last year for our conference, the trend was AI, and so how that impacts HR as well. And you're seeing that trend continuing, where it's becoming one of the most, I guess, acceptable uses in some instances. And I think just looking at it, you have to be relevant. You have to know what's going on and keeping up with trends. Studying, continuous learning is really important. And for businesses, they also have to, I think they should also be looking at what's going on in the world in order to be able to adapt to what's happening. And so I think for us as HR practitioners, just continuous learning, keeping up with trends, and definitely having conversations with other professionals to see what's going on in order to evolve and to adapt and innovate in your company.
Nicholas, is it a wise thing to outsource HR?
It depends on your business model. So some businesses see it working for them, but at the end of the day, I think you need to understand what your business model or business ethos is, and then build your HR function around that. I think far too often businesses operate outside of HR, and they don't integrate HR into their operations of their business, and then that is where you see things breaking down in terms of the technical aspects of running an HR department, and then the more nuanced things in terms of strategic leadership, people development, labor management, and that type of stuff. So that is sometimes where you see the divide coming about. There's no integration and aligning HR with the needs of the business.
And so, caution to the wise, right? Caution to the wise.
But there are lots of businesses that don't have HR, and I think that's a very, very serious thing, because when you have an employee situation, how are you dealing with it? You're just doing it on the fly, or you might terminate somebody because you came in this morning and you don't like something that they did, and you say, look, go home. And those days are now over. We have the Employment Rights Act, we have laws and legislation, but you'll be surprised at how many businesses, small and some medium-sized, and don't have an HR department, and they're functioning, the employees are struggling. There's no, and you may have an organization, there's no succession planning as well in that organization. So when someone is leaving, there's no plan for that person for that role to be replaced. I know of an organization, when their HR was transitioning, they brought in the HR 2 years before, so that that person can learn and be groomed and then move on to, so when that person retired, they were able to then step into that role. But a lot of things in HR, it's not being done right now, and it's mind-boggling, some of the stories that you hear.
So what are you going to do about it?
We're going to continue to talk, advocate, have workshops, speak to employers, you know, and just really be that resource to kind of get it done. But we can't force people to have HR departments, but we can certainly advocate and help those HR professionals to get into that. And as you were asking, Nicholas, about outsourcing HR, a lot of companies do that as well. The term now is fractional HR, where you can practice your HR and be a consultant and go in and provide services to small businesses. And so those are resources that businesses have. You may not be able to afford an HR manager, but you can obviously do have a fractional practitioner coming in and helping you to streamline your business.
And perhaps that's an opportunity HERMAB can offer in terms of advice and guidance to businesses as well.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Remember, membership brings benefits, ladies and gentlemen. hermab.org.bb.
Yes, that's correct.
The website, hrmab.org.bb. Oh, I just spelled it all out. And so when you do so, remember, there are courses that you can take as well, and that you can just search for it, and they will guide you through as to how you can upskill or upscale your organization as well. So please reach out to HERMAB. They bring benefit. Thank you, Tisha, new president, and Nicholas Roberts, past president indeed. They're continuing, two young faces, continuing to work. So you see Barbados is in good hands with these two young HR practitioners, leaders in HERMAB indeed. We're taking a break. We're coming back with the news in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 2 minutes after 7. Let's take a look at the news now. Government is making it clear that Barbados and other small island developing states want fair and easy access to the Loss and Damage Fund when the need arises. Minister of the Environment, National Beautification, Blue and Green Economy, Adrian Ford, says this is critical to helping countries respond to climate change issues, especially extreme weather events. The fund was established at COP27 with the aim of providing financial assistance to the developing countries most vulnerable to climate change. Minister Ford made that country's position clear at the opening of the 5th board meeting of the fund held at the Hilton, Barbados. Anesta Henry has a report.
Minister Ford says the Loss and Damage Fund signifies international solidarity. But of particular importance, it must be a tool of practical fair play for small island developing states. He says for this to be achieved, there must be adequate capitalization and a transparent accessibility to the financial resources.
The communities and the people who are most affected by serious climate events need to be assured that the Loss and Damage Fund is viable and can respond quickly to their needs.
The glancing blow of Hurricane Beryl left the fishing industry devastated, with more than 90% of the fishing fleet destroyed or damaged. Minister Ford says there was over $200 million in damage and hundreds of lives were disrupted.
After Hurricane Beryl on the 1st of July, by the 2nd of July, the Prime Minister and the government, of course, had to respond with alacrity because we had families whose basic needs were still there. Their basic needs were ever present. The need to survive, to eat, to drink, to have shelter, food. Those needs were immediate. And so that's why the fund must operate with a measure of alacrity.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Loss and Damage Fund, Ibrahim Sheikh Diong, says the board has heard Minister Ford's call to accelerate any support the fund will provide to countries in need.
Barbados has been a leader in championing loss and damage for the past decades. Not only because you're affected by loss and damage, but your Prime Minister, your entire government has been extremely helpful in championing and making a call to action that get us where we are today. So Barbados deserve a deep gratitude not only from this board, from the entire international community.
The Loss and Damage Fund was created at the 27th Conference of Parties in Egypt in 2022, following decades of campaigning by a coalition of Pacific Island nations and developing countries. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
Barbadians are being encouraged to catch the culture at this year's Oistins Fish Festival. So, co-chair of the year's festival with responsibility for marketing, Israel Mallet, says over 150 vendors will showcase their wares. He adds that the festival is a massive boost to local entrepreneurs and small businesses and continues to be an economic engine for the economy. And despite losing spaces to developments in a number of areas, Mr. Mallet says the number of vendors is on par, if not just above previous years.
The vendors will benefit from the marketing and the festival. Usually vendors that come out, most of the vendors say that they've had a good festival. We aim to promote our vendors. So for example, we have our festival website on which we post our vendors. We post our vendors on social media. So we can't necessarily say how much each vendor will make because that's based on their sales on the day, how they interact. But what we can say is that we do our part as a festival to make sure our vendors are promoted and that we give them every opportunity to showcase their product.
Mr. Mallet notes that the festival makes a surplus. Contributions then are made to the Oistins Fisher Folk Association, Oistins Bay Garden and the Barinda Cots Fish Market. Flo, Barbados Senior Communications Manager Tony Yard, says their sponsorship goes beyond financial support.
It is an investment in the vibrant culture that makes Barbados unique. But beyond the business aspect, our partnership with the Oistins Fish Festival reflects our dedication to national development. Just as the fishing industry has played a pivotal role in shaping Barbados, so too has Flo. For over a century, under our parent company, Cable and Wireless Communications, we have been playing our part, and we continue to do so by empowering communities, supporting local talent, and fostering economic growth.
While some local businesses may be considering investing in the U.S. market to avoid the 10% reciprocal tariffs imposed by Donald Trump's administration on the 5th of April, that is not feasible for all exports. For example, as it relates to rum produced in Barbados, there are special considerations, as explained by Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn.
Not rum, because clearly, again, the rum as a mechanism for geographic indicator, Barbados is rum. So you're not talking about rum, because in the same way that champagne is a region in France, rum is Barbados. Barbados is rum. So rum is not one of those things. No, rum is not one of those things that you can just take up and go outside of Barbados and do and get the premium that you want.
This year's Republic Bank Sir Charles Williams International Fishing Tournament is expected to generate $2.5 million. The annual 3-day event at the Port St. Charles Marina in St. Peter is featuring 38 teams with prizes worth $140,000, making this the biggest prize purse in the Caribbean. Director and organizer of the Barbados Game Fishing Association, Michael Paris, gave a sneak peek into the plans.
There'll be 40 boats in here. We'll be moving out at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be traveling to that rock. What's that rock called?
Rampus.
Rampus. We'll be traveling to Rampus in a big long line. It will take there and back the amount of boats we have in the armada of fishing fleet. So they'll lead out down to Sand Street, go around the buoy and come back up, and then line up here by 6:30 to take off fishing. And we're creating that to highlight the beauty of Barbados shores, our aquamarine water, the fishing component of it, and we're showcasing our Coast Guard, the safety of it. We're doing all of that to develop this area as a beautiful area for this type of activity.
Meantime, Minister of Labour, Social Security and the Third Sector, Colin Jordan, said the tournament is a big boost.
This is important because it adds something to the mix. We've had the fishers before at the jetty, but having so large a tournament really adds to the portfolio of activities and attractions that will bring additional people, well, create the interest first, inspire some, and then bring additional people into the town and into the environs of the town, because we are not in the town center here, but we consider this part of the Greater Spice Sound area.
That's a look at news right now. More news coming up on CBC TV 8 at 12 noon. Morning Barbados takes a break. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you...
Week after week, Skoold presents exciting reports and documentaries on the most varied topics of our time. Spectacular developments and innovations, lifestyle and trends of tomorrow, mobility and tourism, health news, highlights from art and culture. Each contribution grabs the viewer with extraordinary images and stories and takes him into fascinating worlds which he experiences here exclusively and up close. We're there when companies and specialists develop super satellites for a global network in space and can look behind the scenes. Skoold is a window to everything that is there or is yet to come. Fly with us through time to better understand today and tomorrow. You've always wanted that. Skoold, a look into the future.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Did you see that? Did you see all of that? That's the energy you will get with the upcoming First Citizens Uplift 2025. Joining me is the man behind the venture, the one, the only, Nicholas Branker. Nicholas, good morning.
Morning, Pearson. How are you doing?
What shall I say? Mostly good.
Mostly good.
Mostly good.
Mostly good.
There you go. No, we can't always be good, but
No,
mostly good.
mostly good.
Mostly is quite good indeed.
It is.
And so, coming up shortly is the First Citizens Uplift.
Yes.
And so, give me the concept behind Uplift.
Okay, so the idea originated during lockdown. We felt like there was a lot of fear and discomfort and anxiety in the country. And also there was a lot of inactivity. And so we tried to cover two things with one, which was to put on a concert online that people would feel connected, not so alone, a little more motivated, a little less afraid. And we did it in the St. Michael's Cathedral, and also to keep the musicians busy and the technical crews.
I remember that.
And it went well. It was a very well received, not only in Barbados, because you know when you're online the whole world is watching.
Yes.
And then when we came back to a semblance of normalcy, which is what I suppose we have now, people were like, so you gonna do it again? And we were like, well, I didn't think of it. And then all of a sudden we were like, well, let's do it, but we can't do it in the cathedral because we would want to kind of feel the environment. So last year we did it at Codrington College outside, and the response was phenomenal. And so here we are again.
At Codrington College again?
Codrington College again.
It's such a spectacular venue.
Perfect. And historically it means a lot.
Yes.
Somewhat positively and a little bit negatively, but you know, the fact that we can do it there speaks volumes to how far we have come.
Indeed.
And I think it makes people feel connected to their country and connected to their history. Because when you sit in the audience and you watch the stage, apart from what is on the stage, interestingly enough, everything that you see has been there for hundreds of years.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So you feel connected to your past in a way that I don't think you feel in many other locations like that. And it's always beautiful. Everything is green. You know,
I've been there before, so I know what you're talking about.
It's amazing.
The view
is incredible.
Yes.
And so it makes us feel like we really have to execute on a certain level in order to do justice to the environment. And so the concert aims to exhibit Barbadian excellence in a way that is not unique to us in terms of the fact that it does exist elsewhere, but it is unique to us in the way that we do it.
Yes, yes, yes.
We like to musically cross boundaries in terms of style, in terms of interpretation. We like to deal with different generations and their approaches so that it becomes interesting for a wide variety of people. And I also like the music to reflect and inspire as many different emotions as possible. I find that in a lot of concerts, we tend to focus on one or another set of emotions. So you would have a set which focuses on one thing, and then you would have a religious concert which focuses on something else, and a jazz concert that focuses on that. I try to do everything in one without compromising.
And you've pulled together, I mean, you hear the Nicholas Branker Band and you know what to expect.
Hopefully.
And you've worked hard on developing that reputation.
Yes.
And so when you hear the Nicholas Branker Band is putting on something, you know who's coming to be a part of it. The best, the cream of the crop, literally in Barbados. So who's going to be a part of the Uplift 25?
There are certain recurring characters.
The movie.
which is... apart from the members of the band, we have Mahalia, Nikita, Cheyenne, a lot of first name ladies that you don't have to say the surname.
That's right.
Then we have Paula Hines is going to be there.
Wow.
Israel J. Allen, who is a young singer who is of Barbadian parentage, but grew up in England. He has moved back and we have started to work with him, and he's a phenomenal singer. Adrian Clark, who is one of the recurring suspects. And then Kweku Jelani.
Boy, let me tell you,
who can play and sing. And we did a project with him last year or the year before. And so we will be doing some of that music and just having a great time.
It's going to be a great time indeed. And it's all of the lawns at the back of the Codrington College. You don't see it from the front or are you on the front?
No, when you drive in like that road with
Straight
the palm
road.
trees, The show is on the left-hand side
it's
of
right
that.
there.
It's outside.
Okay.
Right?
Because and not at the back of it.
No, it's not at the back.
Okay.
It's on the outside, and that is because it is Easter weekend, which, as you would imagine, is a very important time for Codrington College. So we can't really go inside and make a ruckus.
So it's Easter Sunday, it's happening on, by the way.
We're doing it on the outside,
right.
but that setting is phenomenal because then the building becomes the backdrop.
Yes.
And the trees are on your right and they're on your left. And it's
I see it. I feel it already. I'm already feeling uplifted.
It's amazing.
I know there are people who are watching who are saying, but you know, Nicholas, I know you and I know what you offer. But how do I get there? What do I pay to come in?
Well, you know, a lot of the particulars of the thing, I ain't really sure.
Well, let me tell them then. You want me to tell them?
I will tell them.
Okay.
The early bird tickets have already been sold ever since. So it don't make sense talking about that.
No, not at all.
But it is $140 to get in. The tickets, I'm not going to call the box offices, but if you go online to ticketnation.com, you will see everything that you need to see. So it's ticketnation.com online, and you will get all the information that you need. We will have a park and ride that is starting from and ending at Lodge Skoold.
Thank you for that.
Which is just up the hill.
Far, yes,
you know, so once you could get to Lodge Skoold, which everybody should be able to do, you will be transported from there down the hill to Codrington College and back up. Last year that worked really well.
Good.
And the show starts at 4. The doors open at 3. We have the police service band as well, and the National Steel Orchestra.
Sweet.
So they will be performing. They will do their own thing, like 45 minutes each, and then we will come on and complete the damage of the area. So,
and that's good. I want to specify though the park and ride. I think people need to understand that don't drive into Codrington College because you can't drive into Codrington College. Precisely. So park at the Lodge Skoold, and you'll be shuttled into Codrington College.
We have shuttles that going the whole time.
Yes.
And there will be parking ward attendants showing you where to park, and then we will have people making sure that your car is taken care of. I mean, you know what I mean? Security and whatnot, and the vehicles will drop you at the entrance to the event.
And you walk in.
You walk in.
If you want to sit, that's your choice. But if you will stand, because the music is just going to be
you will
so
feel
sweet.
the need to stand.
Of
But
course.
we have seating.
Yes.
And then there's an area where you can bring like your blankets and whatnot and sit. You cannot bring any food or drinks.
Right, okay.
Those will be on sale at the venue. But you can choose how you want to enjoy the music.
Yeah.
There are a couple of different settings that you can be in.
Right.
Because some people like to recline and luxuriate on the ground.
That's right.
And other people like to sit in chairs. And, you know, and then there will also be a section for wheelchairs where people can come, because we like to play for everybody.
Yeah.
We're playing for everybody.
So everybody is invited
is to be there. There's space for everybody. Not the whole country, but as many of y'all as want to come.
All the others that make up everybody.
Yeah.
So we're all going to be there on Easter Sunday. That's the 20th of April.
Correct.
That's like next week almost.
It is 2 weeks from the Sunday just gone.
In other words, one more week and then it's dead. So that's where it's going to be. Ticketnations.com. Ticketnation.com is where you go. You'll see where to get your tickets from. All the early bird tickets are already sold, so that's possible. Not possible if you get the early bird ticket, but tickets are worth it. $140 because you are going to be engaging with some of Barbados' absolute best. It's a First Citizens Uplift 2025. It's at Codrington College. Nikita will be there, Chiam will be there, Paula Hines, Israel Allen, Mahalia, Kweku Jelani, Marlon Legal, Voice Project, Adrian Clark, Barbados Youth Steel Orchestra, and the Barbados Police Service Band, and of course, the Nicholas Branker Band, of course.
Yes,
and
please.
So, Spooge, we got some idiom in Spooge?
You get, of course.
I know you wouldn't leave without that.
I can't, well, I mean, where are we from? We are from here. You cannot play.
Correct.
And those that say that it's dead should not speak too loudly. It is not something you should say.
That's right.
Because it is not dead.
That's right.
And working, I had not mentioned Marlon, but I find it is rare that you find somebody that is as desirous of executing perfectly as he is. And we meet on that level, because I am like that too. And we have done, first time we ever worked together was in December at the Christmas concert. But I said, well, we got to do this again. And so we will be doing a special little thing with them in the middle of the show, which we haven't fully rehearsed yet, but which by then we will have. Because it's an interesting way of putting things together. The way that the band will be playing is different. You have to work differently with them because they're much more theatrical than just singing. So it's really an interesting challenge working with them. But it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm already seeing it and feeling it. I know thousands of you will as well. Remember, they can accommodate many of you. The grounds are expansive.
Yes, man.
But you need to go park at Lodge School. You'll be shuttled down to Codgerton College and taken back to your car. It's absolutely safe. And food and drinks will be on sale. But you need to get your ticket now. Ticketnation.com.
Correct.
Ticketnation.com is where you go to check it all out. Nicholas, you know, I must say to you as you're there sitting for me, I admire your humility for a man who has achieved so much musically. I know you find it difficult to accept these things. That's okay. But for a man who has been able to create moods and create music and tell stories through music and have hit songs to work with stellar artists from around the world, I compliment you. Because you remain grounded and you remain humble. And I think that's a fantastic disposition.
Thank you.
And we thank you for your contribution to all of this.
Thank you. The thing is that I was raised to do my best. That's how Barbadians have been raised. You're raised to do your best. And you shouldn't feel arrogant about that.
That's right.
That's what you do. And as I was telling you before we came on, when I listen to you speak and I hear how you enunciate words, I can't do that. You are just as good at what you do as I am at what I do.
Appreciate that.
And I also am very grateful for what Barbados has provided to me. As I was sitting in that chair over there waiting to come on, I remembered playing in this very room on a show called Junior Talent when I was 12 years old. You know what I mean? That is where my life began. And I can't feel like Barbados is not connected to whatever I have done. You know, I am representing us. I can't really be arrogant about that. It's a very humbling thing. I'm very grateful, fully grateful.
We are so grateful to you, Nicholas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Had to say it. Would not let this genius walk away without at least hearing it from me today. Thank you as well.
Thank you, sir.
Remember, folks, it's the First Citizens Uplift Turn 2025 at Codgerton College on Easter Sunday, the 20th of April, beginning at 4 in the afternoon. And you're going to be treated to the absolute best of Barbados. So I encourage you to get your tickets. NOW. We're coming back in just a moment.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
29 minutes now after 7 o'clock. There is an opportunity, a world of opportunities being presented to you through the ongoing collaboration between Protexa and the Student Revolving Loan Fund of Barbados, indeed. And so that's where we want to go now. And for those of you parents who are considering, because you're tired of seeing your child at home sitting doing nothing, or you yourself sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, and you're looking for another opportunity for additional income perhaps, then this is for you. And so I want to make welcome this morning Ryan Thompson. He's the Director of Training with Protexa. And across from me right here on set is Alan Farmer, who is a Senior Loans and Collections Officer with the Student Revolving Loan Fund. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good morning.
Ryan, I want to start with you. Let's talk a little bit about what Protexa is and the kinds of courses that you offer.
Well, Protexa really came about because we have a cybersecurity problem. I'm sure you are aware and your listeners are aware of that there's cybersecurity hacks happening daily. Organizations which people are members of are becoming hacked. Their data is out there. So Protexa came about to address the issue. How do we help protect all of our data that we cherish and that the organizations that we do our banking with and we have our personal information with, how do we protect them? And so one of the ways that we're doing that is we're offering cybersecurity bootcamp training. So that's one of our biggest programs, particularly here in Barbados.
Boot camp training. When I think boot camp, I think you get rough, you get very detailed, you get it done. Would that be the thinking here with this boot camp training?
Well, we like to think of it as the boot camp part is sort of like the accelerated part. So we bring people who don't really have a lot of cybersecurity experience from what I like to call 0 to hero in about 5 months. So that's really the boot camp part.
Okay.
So it's not really, it's intense for sure. And, but we do provide a lot of community. We're trying to address basically that there's a 3.5 million job shortfall. So that's really why it's so accelerated, is because we're trying to get people who maybe don't have any IT cybersecurity experience to a point where they are kind of job ready. And we've done this with our partner in Canada, George Brown College. They've helped us create this curriculum. So we think it's a really that it's like one of the top tier ways that people can get introduced into cybersecurity.
In the boot camp, and how short are the courses really? How long, how many months or days or weeks would I spend to be certified?
Right. So we have, it's about a 5-month boot camp. And then what we do is we prepare them for an industry recognized certification called the CompTIA Security Plus. So our students, and a lot of them have been very successful in acquiring this additional certification. And that is really the indicator that they are ready for a cybersecurity career. And we do this through a bunch of mechanisms in our program. We have online synchronous learning. We also do asynchronous, where people, like you mentioned, maybe that there's some parents or some adults that are looking for changing their career, but they're doing adult-like things, like maybe they're raising their children, right? So we allow some flexibility so that they can, be with their children, get the dinner on the table, but then in the after hours, they can sit down and do things for themselves and then for their families.
And that's so important today because we're all so very, very busy. And is this pitched at an entry-level person, or is this pitched to those who are already in security?
No, so we're actually pitching at anybody that's willing to who's ready to take on the challenge of a career pivot. So we really just ask for people that have a curious mind. They don't mind a bit of hard work, because it is intense, like I said. But one of the other things that I think is a real selling feature of our program is the community aspect. There are regular touch points where group members are helping one another. We have faculty, we have tutors. So we really provide a huge structure of support for the people that, like you said, maybe they don't come in here with an IT background. Maybe they're a baker, or they are fashion designers. So we've had all kinds of people come into our program and be successful.
That's so important to know. And so even little me, who just knows how to punch keys and understand what being online is all about, I too can do this, because it's another revenue for generating revenue, another other avenue to do so. And so, Alan, to make this possible, how much roughly would a course like this cost, and how can Student Revolving Loan Fund help me?
Right. So the course costs approximately $14,000, and that includes
Barbados dollars.
That's Barbados dollars, and that includes a laptop and all the necessary software. However, if you have your own laptop, you can get the course for $11,000. That's the training. But the good part about this course is that after you are trained and after you take out that loan, you have a 1-year job placement, which pays you, and you work for international North American companies in that 1 year.
Yes. So I earned to help repay the loan.
Yes.
As it goes as well, while also being taught and being certified as a cybersecurity specialist.
Yes.
And so that's absolutely important. So to apply for the loan, what's the process like?
Right. So to apply for the loan and the program, you apply through the Student Revolving Loan Fund website. The application is very simple. You provide proof of address, your ID cards and stuff like that. The general stuff that you provide to the loan, you provide to us. Only other thing is that you would need a surety or some form of security to secure this loan. And a surety is anybody that believes in you and that's working. The person just has to be working for approximately $14,400 Barbados dollars per annum, and they can be your surety. The only other thing that we do is we do credit checks on you and your sureties. So the application is easy. We ask persons to apply early, apply now. Applications are open all now, but it's quite easy and transparent process. It's 100% online. The only time you visit our office is when you're signing the documentation.
Oh, that's convenience right there, folks. That's convenience indeed. So go on to what website again?
So you go to srlfloan.edu.bb and
srlfloan.edu.bb.
Yes.
Okay. And we're showing you right there on your screen. And so, Ryan, when the funds we've been approved for the funding and we can get this all done, I operate at my convenience, basically, at my own pace, at my time. I know it's a 4 to 5 month course, but how day by day, how does it work?
Well, for this particular course, there is actually morning touch points.
Okay.
So there is a regular sort of what we call a morning huddle. So we do have people come to that, but after that huddle, you are allowed to sort of structure your day more or less as you see fit. Now, you'll be working in teams in a lot of cases, so you do have to sort of keep that in mind. But we found that having limited morning huddles, touch points, is important for the success of the person coming into the program. This also gives us an opportunity to bring in guest speakers, because a lot of some of our huddles are actually forums for people to come in, and we have like CISOs, we have CEOs, we have people that know cybersecurity and have done it for decades. So this really gives us an opportunity to sort of let them share their experiences with the people in the program.
And this is so important, a study of course, and because we've seen so many incidences across the world where cybersecurity is threatened or breached, and so everyone now understands that there's capacity for more to really come up and be certified, so that you too can join the army who are fighting against those cybersecurity threats. And so we want you to be certified. The SRLF Fund, Student Revolving Loan Fund, makes it possible for you to be certified. And you join the army, basically. But in joining the army of those who are seeking to be specialists in cybersecurity, there's a boot camp. There's a period of time where it's intense training, so that you understand what you're getting into, and that you will see the benefits derived therefrom. But I like the morning huddle concept, where you come together, okay, team, this is how we're going to work together today. These are the things that we want to achieve today. These are the benchmarks that we're aiming over the time. But then having those little teams where you work together, you lean on each other, learn from each other's experiences as well. And you find yourself over time becoming the best cybersecurity expert there is, because the jobs are available, the opportunities are available. And so why not grab hold of this opportunity right now? And as Alan said, while you're doing this and you're working for that year, you're earning money that helps you to repay the loan as well. It's as simple as going to the website srlf.edu.bb. Am I right? SRL loan.
Yes, loan.
.edu. cbc.bb. I'm learning as I go as well. And so that too is a portal that's secure. And certainly that's one way. Once you get there, this is what you're going to see, folks. This is what you're going to see. Cybersecurity training on the loan fund, and then you can log in and you can begin your process to applying for the loan. The usual things that they'll ask for: identification, proof of address, that kind of thing, your surety information. And you follow the process as you go. It's all online when you're applying for the loan. You'll only be invited into the office at the moment of signing, having signed and agreed the loan. Correct. And that's absolutely important, that you're actually following and using the technology to do what you do. And so how has it been? Have you seen an uptake so far, one? And what's the deadline for application?
Right, so this is our 5th cohort. So there is an uptake. We ran 4 cohorts. I think we recently graduated the 4th cohort. They're just awaiting job placement. So that would have been over probably 400 persons have been through the program already. Some of them have been placed. Some the 1 year has been up. Some the 1 year has been renewed and continued on with the company. So we do say uptake. What the course has offered additionally to cybersecurity is it prepares you for financial management, financial literacy. It also offers you that flexibility as it relates to how to interview for jobs and stuff like that. So all of that is embedded within the course. The deadline for applications is May 2nd. The only thing outside of our application that you have to do is a pre-assessment. And that pre-assessment is something that we call not agree, which is like a video AI interview that you will do to see if you're a right fit for the program, if you will be successful in the program. And once you do that not agree, then it will be reviewed by members of Protexa, and then they will send on your acceptance to you and to us, and then we will continue the process there.
Ryan, give me a sense of the applicants from Barbados. I'm sure this is perhaps not your first time engaging with them. And what is the quality of intake of cohorts that you get coming to Protexa?
Well, I was kind of listening into the previous guest, and he commented on the hardworking aspect of people from Barbados, and I definitely see that. From my experience with the people who take our program, they're committed, they rise to the challenge, and they are interested in being part of that army that you spoke of for sure.
Indeed. And so, folks, join the army. Join the army of cybersecurity specialists. Indeed, Ryan likes that. He's going to use this from here on end. And you have free license to do that. I've given you that. But you too can be a part of that global movement to stop those threats from those other people who seek to really invade your privacy and mine your information for their benefit and causing you great sleepless nights. And so for you to be able to do so, Protexa is the avenue to be able to be trained in this. But you go through the Student Revolving Loan Fund to get the assistance, because it's not, as we say in Barbados, cheap, but it is affordable. And I know that you make the loan process seamless and easy. You make the payment terms very, very easy as well. What kind of payment terms are we talking about, though?
So repayment for this program is between 18 and 24 months. So when you'll be earning from Protexa, you'll be earning approximately between $4,000 and $5,000 Barbados dollars. So repayment on the loan is approximately $500 to $650 out of that per month. So we did look at the income. We didn't understand that people still need to live. So we try to be flexible with the terms of the loan.
And you've made it very, very easy and very attractive, by the way. And so, folks, it's a no-brainer. Go on to srlfloan.edu.bb right now. Log in, log on, complete the application form. Remember to fill everything in nicely. Send it in. Once you do that, is there an age range that we're looking for here with the program?
So with the program, we do not have an age range. You just have to be 18 years and older. We don't
you have a minimum age.
We have a minimum age. Okay. We don't have a maximum age. Okay. So I think they had some persons in the program that were retired at 60, 61, and they were doing the program just to keep active and passive income.
You got that right, passive income. That's well said indeed. It just flows. They're from very, very beautifully indeed. So I want to encourage all of you today to log on, make your application, get the funding through the Student Revolving Loan Fund, and you are well on your way once you pass the interview at the beginning indeed. And so we want to encourage you to take this very, very seriously. The cyber threats take you seriously. They take what they do seriously. So join the army against cyber threats by being a cybersecurity specialist through Protexa. The potential there from you thereafter is absolutely amazing. So there's so much, and there are different levels, I suppose, Ryan, that one can go at this entry level on beyond and beyond, right?
Oh yeah, there's the entry level is just really the beginning, and there's also different areas of cybersecurity that you can kind of deep dive in. I call it rabbit holing. Like once you get into cyber, then you kind of have to pick a niche and a specialization, and that's where our program tries to help them identify some of those niches. We do a lot of like hands-on assignments and activities that say, okay, this is how compliance works, this is how networking works. So it really kind of gives them a little bit of a taste of what the future holds.
Wow, fantastic indeed. Simple. Thank you, Ryan Thompson, Director of Training with Protexa, and of course, Alan Farmer, who we know so well, Senior Loans and Collections Officer with the Student Revolving Loan Fund. Best of luck. And to all of you as well, sign up today, get the access, really grab hold of this opportunity. It is for your benefit. We're coming right back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
I'm sure you've heard of the Kiwanis Club of Barbados. Have you heard of the Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados? Indeed. Well, they are very real. They're very active in the society, and they have some wonderful, meaningful programs that they are engaged on. Joining me right now, next to me, is the distinguished president of the Kiwanis Club herself, Lisa Murray. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning,
Madam President. Good to have you. And you have the director of the Kiwanis Club in herself, Raquel Griffith. Raquel, morning to you as well.
Good morning.
Let's talk a little bit. I want a little bit of background to the Kiwanis and what you do.
Okay, so Pearson, the Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers which is dedicated toward improving the lives of children one community at a time. The Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados is one of several Kiwanis clubs which operate in Barbados. Our mandate is to make sure that we are initiating projects which serve the good of children within our community. The beauty about the Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados is that we do projects across the entire island. We are not restricted to any particular area or any particular district. Some of the projects which we have, one thing I forgot to mention is that the Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados has been around and in existence serving for just over 16 years. We'll be celebrating our 17th anniversary in September of this year. Some of the child-centered projects that we have we have worked on over the years and that we're most proud of include the sponsoring of the K Kids Club at the Sharon Primary and the St. Matthew's Primary School. We also sponsored the Action Club at the Derek Smith Vocational School. Recently, just last month, we were engaged for March in the Disability Awareness Month. We partnered with a couple of other groups to have an annual project, Everyone is Able, where ABLE stands for accepting others despite their differences, being inclusive, learning to engage with persons of all abilities. So this project that we're here to talk about now, Unlock Your Difference is Your Superpower, Unlocking Brilliance. This actually started in March because this was one of the projects that we initiated during the Disability Awareness Month. And I will let Director Raquel speak a little bit about it because it's a bit of her baby and her brainchild. It's part of one of the committees that we have within our Kiwanis organizations is the Young Children Priority 1 Committee, and we refer to it as Kiwanis, we refer to it as YCPO, and that committee is charged specifically with finding projects that support children ages 0 to 5. So this project that we're talking about was conceptualized as one of the projects for our YCPO committee, but then we realized the impact that it could have on a wider scale, and we actually extended it so that we're looking at primary school age children from birth up until 10 or 11 years old, because we saw a need for that. Director Raquel, I'm going to give you an opportunity to...
So talk to me about this. What I love about the Kiwanis is that it's self-sacrificial. You give of your time, you give of your energies, you're constantly out there engaging in projects that uplift people, using the same uplift we talked about a little earlier on. So talk to me about this one, unlocking my difference and using it as my superpower.
Yes, that tagline was a brainchild of one of the committee members, and I thought it was so fitting because of the type of project that we have. So the project is a learning challenges project, and like DP Lisa said, it was my brainchild. It was my baby. It came out of a need of seeing what was happening in society and realizing that we are having hearing a lot about children not really falling by the wayside, but not having the best chance that they can get because of different learning challenges. And we wanted to find a way to help our children, help our parents as well, help them navigate their learning cycle. So I came up with the thought, really, and I discussed it with a friend, Dr. Morris from University of West Indies, and she assisted with giving us some resources and pointing us in the direction of our presenter, Miss Casey Rouse, and we did the project. We spearheaded the project. So the project is twofold. We would have had the first session on March 23rd, and that was a virtual information session. It was amazing. I felt so inspired by it. We had persons logged on, not just Kiwanians, but we also had parents. We had persons within the educational field as well, and they got a grasp of the magnitude of what we have basically in our society. It opened my eyes a lot, and I'm sure everyone their eyes were open as well. And also the parents were able to engage, ask questions, and also share their experiences as well. We actually had a segment that was dedicated to parents who have children with learning challenges, and they shared their experiences, gave little tips about things that they've done to help their children navigate their life, learning. And we thought on it. We had a little debrief afterwards, and we said there must be more that we can do. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And the workshop then was conceptualized. And the workshop now is to go a bit further. So we've given you some information, we told you what exists. The workshop now is to try to help you along the path. So Mrs. Rouse would also be facilitating the workshop, and it will be more of a hands-on type exercise.
It's in person then?
It's an in-person workshop. It's going to be held on Saturday, April the 12th. It's going to be
this
Saturday. Yes, this Saturday.
Time is getting away from all of us here. And so this Saturday,
This Saturday.
What time and
it
where?
starts at 10 a.m. We're having it in the Christie's building, which is in the building on the opposite side of the road from the Light and Power's main office on Garrison. And yes,
where to do food.
Yes, upstairs. Just upstairs that
there,
building, yes. And we're asking persons to register. We've had the form on our social media, but if you log on to our Instagram page, Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados, and just go into our bio, the registration form is there. You can log in, register. We still have spaces available.
Right.
It is a free workshop, so we want as many persons as possible to take advantage of the opportunity to get this information.
So it's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
From 10 in the morning.
From 10 a.m.
You go to your Instagram page, Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados, register, and you're in. Is there a registration fee?
There's no registration fee.
So, and is it pitched only at those parents with children with disabilities or learning challenges?
Yes, the workshop it is, yes, because a part of the registration asks you to identify what challenges your child may have. Because we do want to cater this workshop to the persons who are attending, so that they do get the most out of it, the most that they can out of the workshop.
And it's so good that you're doing this, because we know the deficits that exist in our society, and not just the deficits in the child's learning, but the deficits in managing those children as well, and giving them the same opportunities that others have been given. And so this is part of the process. Having exposed, and we know the numbers, now the workshop is to help us to find ways to be able to devise ways of coping with, but designing also future plans to help those children with the deficits.
Exactly, Pearson. You summed it up quite adequately, because one of the things for us, the aim of this entire project was to raise awareness of the various learning challenges that exist within our communities. And even simple tips that were shared, like for instance, there may be a child who's active and running around, but as soon as it's time to do work, they're tired, they're sleepy. And we Bajans and we Bajan parents will be like, you've had all this energy before, what's happening? But sometimes simple symptoms like that are an indication that the child is just not stimulated in the way that they need to be stimulated. And there is some sort of challenge there. So it doesn't mean that they're not intelligent. It doesn't mean that they're not capable. It means that we have to find the way to really engage them and understand how we manage their instruction to give them the best opportunity to thrive rather than to just survive. And so that's really what we're aiming to do.
I love it. I want to know the outcome of the workshop, because I want to follow this as it goes as well, because I want to see the change that you're talking about. And it's good to know that the Kiwanis Club Pride of Barbados, that's what you're doing. You're making an effective change because the children are so small, sometimes we forget them. Or we assume all will be well, eventually they will get it. And sometimes that's not what it is. We need to plot the path for them for their success as well. And so you're on a good thing here, I must say. You're on a good thing here. So remember, keep me informed.
I'm happy to hear you say that, because we don't expect this to be our last opportunity, our last attempt at this. We plan to continue to build on it, because as we identify more persons and provide resources so that persons know where they can go to get support, to get the assessments done, etc., we plan to be along the journey with them.
So again, keep me posted.
We will certainly do that. Thank you so much.
Madam President, Lisa. Distinguished. Thank you so much indeed. All the best. Folks, again, you need to log on to the socials. Kiwanis Club, Pride of Barbados. Registration form is in there. Register. It's on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Great hours to spend in a very meaningful way to make a difference. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Some ask, what makes Barbados so special? We at Mornin Barbados say it's you, our exceptional youth. You are talented, resilient, and inspirational. You are the epitome of the Barbadian spirit, testing the boundaries of your creativity. If you are an entrepreneur, artist, baker, designer, author, or have done anything you think should be highlighted, email us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Let us show the world our exceptional Bajan youth.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for keeping us company. As I always remind you, share the show, tell someone else about us, bring them along because they not only have fun, they gather information as well. So my little crew joins me in wishing you a wonderful Wednesday. Check you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.